Hello everyone, I'm Valerie with Mariposa Creations by Valerie and a proud brand ambassador for Redesign with Prima. Today I'm going to be sharing my tips and tricks on how to take a piece of outdated wall art and create the most incredible piece that will be cherished for years to come. We're going to be focusing on the Artisans Frame Decor Mold from Redesign with Prima from the Home for the Holidays new release. Also, we're going to be working with decoupaging photographs into the mold. So stay tuned. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comments.
I love that this mold includes several embroidery hoop-inspired frame sizes, giving you so many creative possibilities. I'm using amazing casting resin for these molds. Measure equal parts of part A and part B. You can do that by either weight or volume. In this video, I'm doing it by weight. Once measured, mix quickly and thoroughly, scraping the sides and the bottom of your cup. Since amazing casting resin has a short working time, you'll want to pour it into the mold as soon as it's fully mixed and the bottom of the cup is warm to the touch. Then I simply pour it into the mold, letting it flow into all of those beautiful details. This is actually one of my favorite parts of pouring resin. I just love to watch this process.
So here's a tip when working with quick casting resin. The way that I know that they're done and that they're ready to come out, because they're white, but they've been white for a while. So they turn white rather quickly, but they're still not ready to be released from the mold. So what I do is I start to pull back. I take my thumb and I kind of push back on the mold. If it pops easily, it's ready to come out. If it's not popping, and this one is not, this one's doing is it's kind of bending with the mold. Give it just about a minute or two more and then try again. If you push down with your thumb and it just pops, then it's ready to be removed from the mold. Okay, so I am working on our grandchildren's images, and I have already taken the image and created charcoal sketches from the images, and now I'm getting ready to print them on my inkjet with rice paper. Once it's printed, take a circle that's the same size as the frame, and these frames are going to be circular, and just draw a circle around it and then cut it out, and that will be pretty much cut to the size I want it to be.
Because I used an inkjet printer, I wanted to protect the ink from bleeding when I applied the decoupage gel. So I sprayed 2 light coats of a water-based sealer over the rice paper, letting each coat dry before applying the next. Once everything was completely dry, it was safe to decoupage the photos into the resin frames. I start with a thin coat of Prima's decoupage gel. Then I carefully lay the rice paper photograph onto the resin frame. Take a second to make sure you have it lined up exactly where you want it, because rice paper is very delicate. It absorbs the gel quickly, and if you try to slide it around too much, it can tear. Once it's laid into the surface, I go ahead and I take plastic wrap and I very carefully smooth out the paper to remove any wrinkles or bubbles. Once I get the paper perfectly smooth, I go ahead and apply another coat of Prima's decoupage gel over the paper to act as a sealer. Don't worry if your rice paper isn't a perfect fit. Mine came up just a little short, so I'm simply extending the image with acrylic paint. Once it's finished, it blends right in and you'd never know where the rice paper ends. Once I was satisfied with extending the image, I went ahead and used pouring glaze to seal over the top to give it a glass-like finish. This is one of my favorite steps. A little decor wax really brings these molds to life. It catches all of the raised details and gives them beautiful depth and dimension. Just remember, a little decor wax goes a long way. I usually use my fingers to apply, but you can also use an artist's brush. Completely your call. The Bloom of Eternity decor mold includes these beautiful little banners, and they were exactly what I was looking for to add the title and the names of each of our grandchildren. This project was inspired by my mom, who loved cross-stitch and needlepoint. She created beautiful handmade treasures for our family, and one of my favorites is a Christmas tree skirt she stitched for me nearly 45 years ago. Every Christmas, it's still the first thing I place under our tree. When I first saw Prima's Artisan's frame decor mold, it immediately reminded me of the embroidery hoops she used, and that's where the inspiration for this project began. I went back and forth a few times on what I wanted the inside of the frame to look like, because I knew I was going to be laying the artisan frame mold along with the banners all inside, but I wanted to give it a little bit of design style without overtaking the rest of the design itself. After much internal debate, I decided to paint stripes, and I am so happy that I did. Once the stripes were completed, I went ahead and painted the outside of the frame. Then I did a wet distress technique, and that is when you take a wet towel and you just wipe back some of the paint. Super easy to do. To tie everything together, I decided to add a few delicate florals using Prima's Blush Reverie Middy transfer. I didn't need much, just a few elements to soften the background and complement the photographs without taking attention away from them. I especially love how the florals play against those soft stripes. They work beautifully together and give the background a little bit more depth and interest. Once the transfer is burnished, I immediately seal it with a water-based top coat. I make sure to give ample dry time for the top coat. Once it's dry, I go ahead and I begin to glue the molds in place. This project began with memories of my mom. Today, it's become a keepsake for my own family. My greatest wish is that one day my grandchildren will walk by it, smile, and think of me. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this project, I'd love to have you join me on my creative journey. Until next time.